Hello, welcome to PX Multifamily, the People Experience Podcast. I'm Mary Gwyn, Chief Innovator of Apartment Dynamics, and I'm a student of the People Experience in Multifamily. I have a question for you. Does your company put people first? Lots of people say it, but does your company really put people first? And how do you measure it, assuming you're trying to? Wow. We keep it pretty simple. Do you have a vacant position? Is it your top priority to fill it? If not, are you really putting people first? Think about it a different way. What happens when you end up with a vacant position that you haven't filled? On site, everyone feels the pain. Say it's the frontline leasing professional. Her name was Crystal. I work in the leasing office and we took our Crystal to lunch and now she's gone. I have to rewrite the schedule to cover her hours. So that means instead of working one Saturday this month, I guess I'm working 2 or maybe 3. Oh, and typically we get a day off during the week for the Saturday that we're going to work. So that means that day off, one of us is off during the week for that Saturday and the other person is by himself. So that's one person handling all the office duties, the phones, the tours, the leasing follow-up, the collections, the administrative duties, the work orders, the weekly owner call, the reports. Well, I guess lunch will not be a thing this week. My coworker actually asked if I've hired. Well, like when am I going to have time to look at resumes that come in, call prospective leasers, set up interviews, set aside time to interview, set up second interviews? I'll squeeze that in this weekend. Uh-oh, there's an email from accounting. I haven't approved all my invoices. Yikes. Why is HR calling? Oh no, payroll approval was due today. Am I basically going to be in trouble every day until I hire? Pause a moment, guys. That's how your on-site team members feel. If you leave a position vacant for any length of time and don't make every effort to fill it with the best possible candidate, you're really hurting the remainder of your team. They're having to work harder, work longer. They're having to perform work that may or may not be their job. And really, they may or may not be very good at the work they're filling in. They have the stress of saying why things are late all day long, or why they're not done, or the stress of working hard to juggle everything so they don't have to apologize for things not being done. And do you ever think, why isn't that manager doing a better job hiring? Why haven't they hired yet? Well, if they're struggling to keep the work flowing, how in the world are they going to look at resumes and interview candidates? And if they don't, well, it's that endless cycle. The trouble just keeps on going. So how do you help stop that downward spiral? Well, it goes back to my first question to you. Do you put people first? Does your company put people first? Then you just have to look at things a little different on your hiring. Here are a couple of tips that work for me, and I definitely can learn more, so I hope you'll give feedback. My first tip is a good resume has a shelf life of 15 minutes. So look at resumes fast. I used to say a good maintenance resume has a 15-minute shelf life, but now it's all good resumes. You can't wait and just look on the weekends. If you wait, those good resumes are already going to be snapped up by someone else. In fact, if you ask me, you can't just look once a day at resumes. You should have an alert popping up on your monitor that lets you know every time a resume hits your inbox, and then look at it fast and even call the candidate like immediately. So they go, wait, I just sent that resume. But you catch them before anybody else has a chance to call them. If people come first, then show them, show your team members, but also show the candidate. That's really an example of people coming first. My second tip is help your team hire. Offer to help. Offer to screen the resumes for them. Make the first calls. Set up those appointments. Help with all the admin things that go along with it. Make sure the person interviewing has a calendar invite. Set it up for them that actually has all the information they need on it, like the name of the person, the role they're looking for, contact information, a copy of the resume attached to it, maybe even a copy of the interview questions that you all use for those roles. Have everything else they need on there. And then help them track where things are and any follow-up they need help with. If people come first, then your frontline person needs your help to get the best people in there. So my third suggestion is help get candidates across the finish line. Ask your hiring person how you can help. Don't let that candidate age in place. Offer to help with follow-up interviews, offer to help track down any paperwork, like maybe you're waiting for the application to come in, or you need references, or you need to do the references for your person. Do anything you can to help them hire. A good candidate will have other options, and you want to keep that opportunity from going somewhere else. You don't even want them to have time to consider going with someone else. So if your hiring person is too busy, they could lose the right candidate just by letting that resume age. So if you want to put people first, help get that candidate across the finish line. Do your people really come first in your organization? If so, then when there's a vacant position, or even when you anticipate one's coming, hiring becomes the most important work for you. If not, your other team members end up having to work harder, customer service is at risk, your team members' morale is at risk. People no longer feel like they come first. People first, show it by focusing on filling those vacant positions. So what are your thoughts on this important topic? What do you do that would help other people do a great job at putting people first? Let me know at mary@aptdynamics.com. That's mary@aptdynamics.com. Thank you so much for joining me to talk about this important issue. I'm Mary Gwyn on PX Multifamily, the People Experience Podcast.